and now we're at day 4. So, um, can I know it probably goes without saying, but to be honest, something that has just occurred to me, even though we're at this stage of the podcast, but Craig and Adam look kind of unimpressed, to be honest, with the veracity in the way that Phil tries to put his answers across. But I know this video feels like it's going to be going on forever, but I feel like it's might take longer again. But I apologize, but thank you, by the way, for sticking around at this point. So let's keep going.
Your chance to now say, like, oh, you just go watch that video, right?
Yes.
I don't have to say it anymore. So
Correct.
like this, you said, like, what do we want to know? This isn't for us. This is for the people out there that are like, what about the $5,000 a month? You know, so what about WWE Champion, which we'll get into? Like, what about these things? So it's like, this is your chance to now say, all right, it was the freaking business expenses, whatever. I mean, it was the mortgage, it was this. I don't know if that's actually considered a tax write-off. I don't want you to get in trouble, but I don't know. It just feels.
No, and see, that's the thing. Again, when I went into that bankruptcy, oh my God, that was the craziest rigmarole, because my tax attorney, excuse me, not my tax attorney, I misspoke. My bankruptcy attorney had no idea what they were getting into with me being a public persona. And there were things you can do, I guess, to protect from online harassment, which I tried to explain. They didn't really understand who I was or whatever. And so when all that went public, that was the most drama-filled bankruptcy hearing ever.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna they didn't understand who Phil was. Wow. Okay, whatever. But I'm gonna actually put the light on, because it's like you guys can only like see like one half of my face with this. Okay. And I'm probably gonna need some water as well. I'm thirsty.
The judge was inundated with thousands of messages from my haters about stuff. But anyway, let me answer the question first, and then we can get to anything you want to talk about there. I would assume that the expenses are including everything that I do. Okay, that's related to the business, and that could include mortgage, any insurance that I'm paying that relates to the business, health insurance and or medical costs, legal costs. And that, what I'm talking about is my tax attorney, but also other attorney and things that I've been involved in over the years, which maybe we will get into that today, or maybe we won't. I really can't talk too much about certain things. We'll get to that, about identity theft and stuff. I know it's the first time I ever mentioned that, you guys. So, among other things, all the normal things in a month, like I said, utilities and all of that. It adds it up. Here it is. Here's my tax return. All of a sudden, I'm being accused that was a lie or something. All right, here's what I can say, because I'm not going to sit here and go back to a 2010 tax return and say, here's what my accountant said or whatever.
Right. This is from 2010. That's $5,000 a month.
Oh, excuse me. Did I say 2010? I meant 2020. That's totally my fault. I meant 2020. My bankruptcy was 2020. So I think the tax return that must be referenced is like 2019, something like that. Okay. Here's what I know. Because of the amount of trolling that happened to me, this judge that was involved in the bankruptcy hearing was attacked online with so much shit. I had to go into meeting after meeting with both my bankruptcy attorney and this judge. Hours of work. We went through line item by line item of all of my expenses.
Okay, I do want to... I think the judge being harassed is probably the first thing he's probably lying about, because the more I think about it, why would a judge, why would somebody who knows the law probably inside and out, why would the trolls consider themselves clever to berate somebody in that profession? Somebody who is completely innocent to Phil's shenanigans, and outside of probably her and a prosecutor and among other people involved, what exactly, how is that going to sway the decision? Apart from the fact that, well, the trolls literally could have told the judge a lot about the discrepancies and a lot about Phil's bankruptcy form, which kind of has unanswered questions and things that don't quite match up. I know I've been over it before about the fact that Phil was said he didn't own any pets, which was obvious. obviously a lie. Jasper came into the DSP household before he submitted for bankruptcy. We also know about the collection of valuables and exclusives that Phil bought a lot prior that he still has in. He doesn't have them in Connecticut. He has them in his house in the Emerald City. So I don't really understand why Phil thinks that the trolls would know better, because the judge can actually do something about that. Like, the judge in question, he could immediately turn around and, file for harassment and find out just who those people are. That's why internet trolls don't really go after, people who know the law better than they do. It doesn't make sense why would they do that.
I had to explain to a judge who has no idea what live streaming is, the entire concept of being a live streamer, and showing every single expense and line item and rationalizing what it was to my business. This is this, right?
Also, maybe Phil's bankruptcy attorney, maybe they did know what I think it was a she, but I think they knew what it was. I think what they wanted was to hear it from Phil's perspective about what it was. Maybe I'm giving Phil too much credit for that, but let's just say it's somewhere in the middle.
And it took so much work. At the end of the day, after all that extra work and time and money that had to be put into my bankruptcy, it went through. The judge understood. I showed them everything. If anyone should see line item by line item what my business expenses are, it should probably be the judge who's going to make a ruling on if I should be granted bankruptcy or not, right? That's the government, a government representative, correct? They saw it all. They went through all of it. And at the end of the day, they said, this all makes sense. Approved.
Well, but in the vast majority of time, winners in bankruptcy experience like some sort of relief, right? Whatever the debt is that you were paying, it's gone, right? So why do you have to go back to the well, going back to your audience, and ask your audience to crowdfund your content when you claim and you still say that nothing has really changed financially for you?
Great question. Thank you for asking it, because this is one of the ones I get hit with every day. We just talked about 2021 and what happened with Twitch. Okay, so the bankruptcy goes through around mid to late 2020. I'm relieved of all this revolving debt that I had in my name. But there's still debt that remains. There's still my mortgage. There's still my car payment. There's still taxes. And taxes is a big thing, because for years there, I was not able to pay my federal taxes properly. And
you couldn't pay them, or you didn't prepare to pay them properly. There's a difference. Because
I thought you said that you paid a guy to do your taxes.
I do. Correct. To file the taxes.
Because I think the one thing that people need to understand is that you are acting as an independent contractor with YouTube and Twitch and whoever, right? So when you're paid, when somebody gives you $1 super chat, YouTube takes 30% of that, right? And so you get 70%. That 70% then needs to be taxed by Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam comes in and they take however much of that. So by the end of it, you could be getting anywhere between 50 cents of that or 35 cents of that, depending on what your revenue is for the year, and you're the tax brackets you're in. It sounds like, Phil, that you didn't necessarily plan accordingly for that, and you didn't save your money to ultimately pay. And if you have a tax person to do this, a CPA, which is for any online creator, that's like the number one expense is having a CPA to do your taxes. That's the number one thing, because going through and that's extremely important. But has your tax person ever came to you and said, hey, you should probably prepay your taxes. You should be paying quarterly instead of having one big lump sum at the end of the year? Because seems really irresponsible for somebody who works online and has done so for 17 years to have a tax.
I'm actually going to how Phil immediately changed his story to somebody filing his taxes? I don't think that this happens at all. I don't think Phil has anybody who has an accountant. I think Phil just does it himself, or does it really, really poorly. And I think, that's what I believe is going on. I think Phil's just lying about having an accountant. for his taxes. You want to know how I'm beginning to realize this? Because guess what? When I do my taxes, I don't have an accountant. I did an entire course in terms of running a business. I've been over this story before, where I learned how to do my tax returns. I learned how to organize my purchasing. I learned how to organize my labor costs, my break-even, profit, loss, margins, how to do forecasts. And there's a lot of other things that go into this as well, between trying to organize your VAT returns and how much you do get taxed, because I live in the UK. It's not entirely different because Google still does take 30% of earnings per month, and well, the only interesting thing I've noticed, I'm pretty sure there's like I think it's like it claims it comes from Google Island, but so I don't know if it's under like tax laws that go on in Ireland, specifically the Republic of Ireland. It doesn't say Northern Ireland or anything like that, even though realistically it should be in Northern Ireland, as that is part of the United Kingdom, and I would fall under tax laws in that regard. But when it's, you know, that this is why, ladies and gentlemen, you have got to keep on top of this, and it's why being a full-time content creator, from streaming every day to making podcasts every day to anybody donating even so much as $1 to you via Super Chat, or leaving in the comments, or literally just sending it as a donation through PayPal, you have got to log every single incident and every single moment, so that when you come to showing the tax man exactly what you do, especially in the case of something as serious as a bankruptcy hearing, you've got to display exactly every single. It's basically to protect your character and to show that, in spite of the overwhelming debt, which they will have to ask, how did you come to accumulate all this debt? You've also got to demonstrate that you are making a living, and you're not just you don't just have like an overdraft limit of like $1 million or something like that. No bank in the world would ever offer an overdraft limit that scale, by the way, but that's just saying. It doesn't come across as though Phil necessarily is being truthful, and we know this is just this is very, very typical Phil behavior, where he's not particularly very truthful about things he needs to be very truthful about. But what can you say? Maybe Phil didn't even give the oath when he said he swore by Almighty God to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Tax person who hasn't suggested that and haven't had you prepaid.
Do not, please. That my tax guy is great. You know,
okay.
He you know, I have an estimate of what I should be paying, not even quarterly, monthly. Like, basically, can I make this monthly payment? And some months I can easily make it no problem, and other months I.
Okay, maybe that's a little bit more believable, because yes, Phil does say openly about that he has to make like monthly payments and stuff like that. But surely then his tax attorney would have been able to have seen, like, has there ever been a conversation that Phil has ever had with his attorney where he just straight up said, the reason why my business has been slow and why money has been coming in, has been trickling in, is because people have this saying things about me on the internet. Well, what are they saying? They say that I spent $100,000 on WWE Champions. Is that true? No, it isn't true. You know, has there ever been a point where Phil has ever had a conversation with somebody, and somebody who would absolutely say, Phil, I don't really know why you're doing it, but by almighty God, stop it.
I can't. I have to pay less, depending on the income that I made that month.
But that income is based off of your tax for that month is based, and your quarter and your year is based off of the revenue that you're making that month. So if you make $10,000 that month, then you're going to be, you know, then you prepay whatever, $2,000 in taxes, whatever, however much it is, right? So the money is already in your account. So why would you have trouble spending? Why would you have trouble with that? I'm really having a hard time following this, because if you have the money it's either being spent before it's time to pay taxes, or I don't know. I don't know. Please walk me
And again, this is all leading up to WWE Champions.
through it.
Whew, okay. So I have two revenue streams. One revenue stream is very much daily income that I get from my viewers, meaning like tips, let's say. Okay, that's pretty much tips on a stream. The other revenue stream is the other income that I get from YouTube. That's ad revenue, super chats, memberships, and all of that. Okay. Daily I get tips, and that essentially is the money that I'm using day to day to pay some bills, go grocery shopping, buy a new game for the stream coming up, all that kind of stuff. The YouTube money that comes in behind the scenes is what I use to do all my ongoing recurring payments, my mortgage, my car, health insurance payment or whatever. Here's what's happened, okay? The bankruptcy happens. Great. End of 2020, things are looking up. I'm actually getting more popular on Twitch. I'm starting to make good money. I announced to my audience in early 2021, hey guys, guess what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You guys are supporting me so much. The bankruptcy went through. It's looking like if you keep this going this year, not only for the first year in many years, because now the bankruptcy's over with, now I can pay all my taxes properly for the first time in a long time. Because, my problem is we have that much debt and everything. You can't, I couldn't do it. It was my fault. I was in financial.
Phil talks about being more popular. Well, that's only because the light has been shone on a lot more things that Phil has done, like ever since that Down the Rabbit Hole video came about. That's how I first learned about DSP, by the way, was the Down the Rabbit Hole video. But the other thing as well is that you do become very accustomed to hearing a lot of Phil's discussions, as they were, when it comes to, hey everybody, things are looking up, but I still need more money coming at the end of the month. Is that I've watched enough of Phil's streams before to get a very, very particular opinion about sort of his style. And his style is, well, he'll play maybe Mass Effect Andromeda one day, then he'll maybe play another game like that we've seen before another day, like it could be Street Fighter, or he'll just play whatever big game is coming out at the moment, like the DLC for Elden Ring. Among many other things that I'm sort of beginning to sort of understand because Phil's stream doesn't discuss current events. It doesn't discuss new releases. It doesn't. We've never seen Phil at an E3 or a BlizzCon conference, so we've never seen him at a Twitch. We never seen him at a TwitchCon either. There's a lot of things that Phil's stream it doesn't cover, which would have made him a little bit more accessible to new viewers to find out what was going on. But the problem is that it's not so much Phil's reputation is sort of tarnished, for a lack of a better word, but it's the fact that his audience is very, very niche, and sometimes you have to sort of branch out a little bit. But the problem is that when it comes to his React streams as well, is that Phil kind of doesn't really seem to communicate that he can just try other... Phil doesn't really seem to be willing to try other things. He doesn't try educational streams. He videos. He doesn't try how to cook. He doesn't try just other things. He is very, very attuned to what he is, and well, his streams can be described as what you see is what you get. And if you're fine with that, then that's absolutely fine. Then Phil is going to be there, and there are plenty of other streamers just like Phil. But the problem is that variety is the spice of life, as they say. That's still one of the reasons why I said before why Tyler 1 still was very popular even after his ID ban with Riot Games. Is that Tyler did try other things. He tried to do art. He tried to play other games. He coloured Easter eggs. He cosplayed as Draven. He cosplayed as Kratos. Tyler did, among many, he did Minecraft with Greek God X. He did so many other things that you could still watch him, because you weren't just watching it because, he was playing this, that, or doing this, that, and the other. It's because Tyler was doing it. It was because of him. is the reason why so many people were sticking around and so many people were glad to be there. That's what it was. It's ironic is that if you donate anything to Tyler One streams, a clip will come up of it's only game. Why you have to be mad? And if you watch Phil's stream, I imagine it would be. It is literally it's only the game. Which I know is basically just the same word repeated twice, but one should be said like slower and a bit softer. But it's Tyler One's actually the best like metaphor to really describe like the polar opposite towards Phil streams, because Tyler One was at one point extremely toxic and very, very vocal about everything in his life, to be honest. But he did it in such a way, but he was good at what he did as well, but he did everything different. Where does Phil has just been slumbering in mediocrity, because that's about as high as he thinks the bar can go.
Ruin. All right, 2021 things are looking up. And then what happens? They get me kicked out of the Twitch partner program. They shut down other revenue streams for me that I can't really talk about. Later on that year, identity theft, which we might or might not get to today. I don't know if we'll talk about that. That's a huge one. Identity
you clearly
theft,
want to talk about it.
And we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. It cost me so much money to fix the identity theft thing. So now I went from I'm good to, I immediately have lost a revenue stream from Twitch. I have to go to YouTube. I'm making way less money on YouTube now than I was on Twitch. All that money that was going to make everything even, I'm good to go now, is gone again. I'm way reduced income again. So you're right. The taxes adjust. Now, nothing else adjusted. My mortgage still exists. My car still exists. All those regular expenses still exist. And now I'm making way less. So this is a running pattern, and I hate this shit. Every time in life I feel like I'm getting ahead, something happens and screws me over. I'm serious. It's like a comedy of errors. It's
once again, Phil. Then why not?
It's only a comedy because they were sort of your fault, by the way, Phil. Think about that. I mean, do we have to watch the clips again about why you got kicked off the Twitch program? It'll be about the 4th time we've had to do it, but Phil, you know why this is, and stop pretending that you
not remove all that shit and just do something different. I'm not telling you what to do, but like if you keep running into a wall, eventually you need to take a different direction, right? And like I love that you love what you're doing right now, but if you're still struggling with this so immensely, at a certain point, don't you need to like self-reflect and say like, look, man, I'm running into this wall fucking 5 times. I should probably not be doing this or change my approach to it.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. And like I said, I had that conversation with my mom in 2019 about changing it and, not be beholden to people, do something different with my life. I mean, yeah, let's be honest. A major factor is money. Have to be honest here, right? That's what this is about. I'm going to be transparent.
Major factor. I mean, it sounds like it is the factor. I mean, it sounds like you're just spending the money as it coming in instead of saving and preparing for the next month where it might not be as profitable, so that you could be like, I'm saving. Maybe I'm not going to buy that new game. Maybe even though it's probably a write-off because you're doing it for a business, doesn't matter.
Right.
It seems like you just got to start saving money. Maybe be a little smarter for the future. I mean, I'm not trying to like lecture you.
No,
on
you're
money,
right.
But
you
it
right.
seems like you need it. So.
Yeah, I need what I need. And I've said this before. I'll just say this.
Sure, Phil.
I need like a year, and here's what I mean by that. I need 1 year to make content and not have my trolls fuck with my income.
It's never going to happen.
I agree
Never.
with you. I now agree with you. I know that now, but that's what's happened. Is every time something happens that screws my income again. Well, wait, here we go. I worked my ass off. I changed who I am. I'm a different kind of content creator. All the things that they had issue with me. This is why they do it to me right there. We don't like Phil for this. Okay, I'll change all of that. Nope, still do it anyway. Ruin his income.
So why change? Why?
Well, you say that, Phil, but you still did all those really borderline racist jokes still. You haven't changed that much, Phil.
Change. What's the point? It's not doing anything. Why wouldn't you just stay the person that you were and that you are, whatever, instead of like trying to like adhere to people on the internet? Because the people on the internet are gonna hate. The haters are gonna hate. Like, who fucking cares? So what's the point? You're doing it for nothing.
I agree. I understand what you're saying. At the same time, I feel like that a lot of the changes have been very productive. I like I said, now I love what I do for a living. I didn't before. I do now. I actually genuinely want to be here every day with my audience. It's fun. I wake up in the morning energized, ready to go. I used to wake up in the morning like, oh, I gotta go play games and film again. That was a horrible mentality. Who wants, I treated it like any other job. This now I love it for the last 4 or 5 years. But I hear you. But yeah, if I were to quit YouTube, let's say right now, cold turkey, I quit YouTube. I can't find a job out there that's going to pay what I'm doing now. In addition to that, there's always the factor that
if your expenses are that big, Phil, you may need to start cutting back. If you're not going to save, then start cutting back on the things that you can afford not to do.
Out of the job market for a decade. Who's going to hire a 40-year-old guy that hasn't done anything besides, operate an online streaming business for 10 years?
Nobody with that attitude, though. So it seems like you're already defeated, not even worth trying. So you're putting yourself in this hamster wheel that Craig was mentioning earlier. It's just like there's no option. This is it. So I have to grind. I have to do this, and that sounds miserable to me. Even though you say you're having fun. It seems like you're just trying to convince yourself that instead of
actually
it might be true. It might be true, but these two things could be true also. I'm just pointing that out what I'm seeing.
And I just like to kind of continue on with that, right? The idea of do you have a business plan? Do you have what your business looks like in a month from now? Do you have a business plan for a year from now? You have a tax guy who runs your numbers, but are you saving money? Because it doesn't sound like you are, because just based off what you're saying, and it very much sounds like you're going to be doing this when you're 60, right? And if you want to be doing it when you're 60, that's fine. But this doesn't seem very forward thinking. When you seem like you're living day to day as opposed to thinking about long term. And dude, you're 40 years old, and at a certain point, you got to look at things and say, well, do I want to be doing that? Will I ever have enough money to retire? Will I ever have enough money to not do this? So walk me through that. Walk us through that. The idea of and it's okay to say you don't have a business plan. It's okay. It's we're putting it all on the table here, Phil. And if you don't, that's fine. Just kind of walk me through it, man.
Currently, do I have a business plan? No. Have I had business plans in the past? Yes. And every single one of them has been destroyed by my income being ruined over and over. To have a plan, a long-term plan, you have to know at least what the stability is going to be today and depend on a little bit of that stability. And it sucks. Like Adam said, YouTube, Twitch, any kind of online content creation is a constantly fluctuating thing. Tomorrow, everything could be turned off for all of us. We can't even stream, right? It could be a new law that says we can't do it anymore, in which case then I guess I am boned and I got to go out there and get an offline job, right? But how can I lay out a business plan when every month is different, when it looks like there's consistency to my life? Oh, here's what I'm making every month. That's exactly what was happening in 2021. There was a series of months, like the first 3 months and 4 months of the year. Things were going great. I had a business plan. Here's what I want to do. Let's do this for a certain amount of years. Let's expand. Let's improve the setup. Let's try new things. Let's do this. And then if it keeps going, you get to the next stage of the business plan, right? And what happens? I lose my partnership, identity theft, income's destroyed. Now what do I do? Business plan's gone. So how can I set a plan when these people won't allow me to even have any level of stability?
They won't allow me. Phil, the Twitch partnership, that was your fault. I've never once heard Phil even say that was my fault yet, because the hateful slurs were true.
In my life for even a few months.
You know what you do?
Stuff that they're doing.
You make another business plan. You move forward. That's what you do.
I don't.
What choice do you have?
Right.
The only choice is to make a new one and continue moving forward.
I agree. I will not be beaten by these people.
What you just said sounded like you were.
Oh no!
You have been over and over again.
One of the
I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know what you what you had just finished with. I had a business. He asked what your business plan is. He was like, I had a business plan, but they kept shitting all over it. That was your response instead of this is my business plan, right? You don't have a future vision. I think that's what Craig was going for.
Okay. I spoke. I do have a future vision, The problem is, if I fully explain it, they're going to try to ruin it. You understand?
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
I should have said that. I'm sorry about that. Like, do I have an idea of what I'd like to do? Yes. I know exactly. Actually, I have steps in place to know exactly what I can do to try to fix my situation. I don't want to
That
listen.
sounds good.
I don't want to be here on stream every day saying to people, toss me a few bucks. Oh my God, that's the worst feeling every time I effing do it. I don't want to say, hey, tip me, do this, do that. That's obnoxious. I just want to play games and chill with my audience.
He thinks you have to predict the amount of tips to have a plan. Yeah, exactly. The thing about what they were talking about with business plans and stuff like that, I should point out is that I've been there many, many times, and half the times I would start off pretty well because what I was doing was pretty sustainable. Over a period of time, it turned out not to be sustainable, and production sort of stopped on certain things. So, just to come back a little bit about what I think, I suppose, is the right way to go about this, is maybe you should take a week off from this, Phil. You should devise a plan, relax, go to the gym maybe for a day or something like that. Try something different, or something that will give you some time away and time to think because if it was me, and I may have to do this at some point, is that I would have to take maybe a week off, doing stuff on YouTube and everything else, and I would have to sit down and have a very serious think about just considering where I anticipate everything going and what I'm going to be doing in, let's say, 12 months' time. Because you got to think ahead very long term for these sorts of things, and, well, that's something I'm not entirely sure Phil has ever sort of done this, because he's always been used or accustomed to things being put in place, so it makes his life easier, like, again, Machinima. But, well, Machinima's not around anymore.
I don't want to say, hey, tip me, do this, do that. That's obnoxious. I just want to play games and chill with my audience. And this is the funny part that my detractors will never mention. Before, my income kept getting screwed over all these different times by them and by my choices. It's not just them, it's also my bad choices that did this. I never had any kind of crowdfunding. It was always just Phil's making a living on YouTube via ad revenue. I had no sponsors. I didn't take any money, extra money from anywhere. I wasn't asking my fans for crowdfunding. Everyone else was. I wasn't doing it. It wasn't until the revenue started to get hurt by that I decided to do crowdfunding, because everyone told me to do it, right? Now, my income's ruined over and over by these people, and what's their number one critique of me? You beg too much. I wouldn't beg if you didn't keep messing with my income. The only reason I have to do it is keep ruining my financial income. You keep ruining it for me. So how can I have... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Phil. Begging for money is never a good look for anyone.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I can't dispute it.
Well,
it's indisputable.
Okay, then look, we all established, look, the idea of like going on stream and saying, I really need help for these taxes. I really need help for whatever. I got a big thing coming up. Trav, can you please...
The crux of his detracting today is that for a living he does what normal people who grind 9 to 5 to be able to do. Gaming makes more than they do, and they come back and ask them for more because it's not enough. Yeah. He does makes more. Here's the again. It probably should, again, this goes back to WWE Champions, or the fact that Phil is too comfortable with the style he lives. He's never once considered the idea of just if he was making so much more money than anyone else, then why is he not being smart? Because, well, you shouldn't give money to dumb people. I'm sorry, but you should give money to people who can actually do responsible things with it. And if there's one thing I can definitely say about Phil, is that he is not responsible.
Kill it with the chats, please. The biggest thing, and people asking, is this live? Yes, this is live, right? Of course, this is live. You had an opportunity with Keemstar and Drama Alert to go on there for it was $50,000 was being offered to you to go on this podcast, right? $50K. Why not do that? Like that's a giant amount of money. And yes, there's taxes attached to that. It's after it's all said and done, it's probably $30K, right? But why not just say, okay, I'll take your money and I'll spend a couple hours on your podcast, that would clear up so much of your financial burden.
Okay, Keemstar story. Here we go.
Well, no, just answer that question. I don't.
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about it is that if Keemstar turned around tomorrow and asked me to appear on his podcast, I actually would just say yes immediately, and let's make it happen. I wouldn't be Phil and just be an awkward douchebag about it. Now, again, I don't agree with everything that Keemstar says, and sometimes the things that Keemstar says, well, it's maybe a case of just like bad timing and stuff like that through the things regarding Etika and a lot of other people. However, again, Keemstar does what he does. He is a multi-millionaire through what he does, and he's smart with his money. Take advice from him if you want to actually know how to do this properly. And I'm sure Keemstar's had plenty of people over the years who actively wanted to appear on a podcast beside him. That's sort of like some people's end goal right there, is to reach the citadel for accomplishment, is that they get recognized and acknowledged for the things they do by people who have been doing this for far longer and have made an absolute success out of what they do.
Well, I don't want to hear the story. I just want to know, like, why would you not take $50K?
Because that's not what happened. You've been told a story that's not true. I have to tell you what actually happened.
Right.
Please.
Okay.
So
go on, Phil.
There's a history with Keemstar where, over the years, this guy's a horrible reputation on YouTube. Everyone knows it. I'm not going to crap on the guy here, but everyone just...
Well, that may be, Phil, but why is he still around, and why do millions of people subscribe to him? Why do many people interact with him on Twitter? Why is he... If he was that unpopular, then why do people still watch him? And why is his channel still up then if he's that unpopular by the executives? If Keemstar went out of line, they would have just pulled the plug on him immediately. I know that, and you know that, Phil, so that's not true.
Go look on YouTube. You'll find out all about him and the things he said and did to people and things over the internet. I've had a little bit of history with him. Little bit, but not a lot, And basically, he had been pretty nasty to me a few times, tweets and things like that. What it is people will ask me something on a stream. What do you think of Keemstar? And I'll be like, it's not just Keemstar. It's a lot of guys. I don't like these drama YouTubers. I call them misery brokers. Okay? Mm-hmm. What they do is, if you have a bad day, they're having a good one because you had a bad day. What kind of content is that? To me, I feel that's the worst kind of content. You're benefiting from someone else's personal drama and misery.
I don't know, Phil, about that. Actually, no, Phil, that's not true, because wasn't it the mother of a parent contacted Keemstar, and it was a girl who contacted Keemstar saying that I was playing Minecraft with Lion Maker, and he started making these advances on me. I'm pretty sure Keemstar has also done his part in actually exposing a lot of very predatory YouTubers, and... Well, yeah, and by the way, plenty of other people have as well. It's not just Keemstar's done this. Smokey MC has also done a lot to uncover a lot of stories about people who've done not particularly very nice things. Are you trying to... And Phil... Why did Phil never think about doing that, by the way? If it makes them the money, then who cares if... Why is Phil not taking cues from this, by the way? That's what I need to know.
Keemstar's definitely one of those people in my eyes. You can disagree. That's okay. That's what I think of the guy.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Hello? Okay, coming in a second. Thank you. Thank you. 1 second, guys.
Okay, so I said this one day casually. He starts insulting me and everything on the internet. So we have a little bit of bad blood there. Okay. All of a sudden, it was last year. Okay. Unbeknownst to me, people start telling me Phil Keemstar is trying to contact you. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I have a public. Craig knows. Craig emailed me. Right? I have a public email. If you want to talk to me, contact me. Let's talk. Let's figure out. It's a business relationship. No email, nothing. Okay. He's sitting on his Twitter and he's making public tweets. Someone tell Darkside Phil I want to talk to him right now. Contact him. Tell him I need to talk to him. There's $50,000 on the table and he needs to contact me right now. First of all, is that how you start a business relationship? Is you scream on your Twitter to have someone come talk to you? If he has something to offer me, should he not contact me? So I only know about this because people come to my stream to tell me about it. Okay.
So to answer your question, I think that in a traditional environment, no, that's not how you start a relationship. When you deal in the space that Keemstar does and kind of the drama, like look at me space, yes, that is how you would start it. Because you throw out $50,000 on Twitter, people go, whoa. I want to get this attached. So
also the verification seems a little bit more legitimate if it does come from a verified user, and especially someone like Keemstar. That makes a bit more sense.
Is traditionally no, but we're not dealing with Coca-Cola. We're dealing with Keemstar, right? And that's what he does for a living. So he wants to put eyes on his product and drive interest. So I would say, yeah, he did do it the right way in his world, in his interest.
It's the same thing as the people making this is how you don't play a video game. It's the same shit. They're using your, I don't know, for lack of a better word, clout to make content, and it works. So Keem did it, and you're doing that same thing. You're bitter that he's not approaching you respectfully. You if he actually wants to get you on his stream or whatnot, he maybe should have reached out to you, but he's basically using you. It's like the right thing would be is to use him back,
right?
Instead of getting all upset, right?
And if there's $50,000 on the table, what better way? There's no way he's going to make $50,000 back off an interview with you. Like why don't just take it, cash the check, and then you're golden.
Okay.
Or even if it's $10,000, even if it's $5,000, even if it's $1,000, like why not just be like, yeah, I'll take it, sure.
Okay, let's continue because this isn't what happened actually.
Please.
It wasn't an interview.
Explain that part, because I just want to know about that. Like you said, that's not what happened. So what did happen?
Correct. So eventually, I had to DM him on Twitter to even get his attention because he wouldn't contact me. I learned it from drama on my stream. Everyone's drawn up drama on my stream. Keem wants to talk to you. So I DM him, and he's like, "Call me right now." I was like, "I can't. Just tell me what is this about? I'm streaming. I'm busy. Just let me know what this is about." So I'm serious. I had to go back and forth with this guy so many times for him to just tell me in a DM, what I'm interested in is I want to do a show with you. I want you to host a show. This was not an interview for 2 hours. This was some kind of like a big project he wanted me involved in. I don't know exactly what. Let me explain. So he says, but I don't want to talk about it in a DM. We got to have a phone call. I'm like, okay, that's reasonable, right? Let's have a phone call. Here's my number. Here's when to call me. I'm available at these times of the day. Okay? I wait. The call never comes. It's been like 2 days. The call never comes. Maybe he's not serious about it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this guy's head. All of a sudden, I'm on streams. He starts calling me when I'm on streams. I'm like, is he? I don't know what's going on again. So I DM him after the fact. I'm like, hey, you want to? So basically, it's like stupid telephone phone tag. The guy won't even contact me to talk about what he wants to offer me when I'm available, right? So at that point, I'm like, let me figure out what this is. And I talked to my wife about it. And we sat down. I was like, sounds to me like he wants me involved in a project. I don't know what it is. And my wife says, you know about him, right? I was like, of course I know about him. Everyone knows about Keemstar. And we talked about it seriously. And we're like, right now, $50,000, if this was real, would be hugely helpful for us. It would put us, back, jump ahead, almost square one, I would say. With all the things that are going on financially behind the scenes. And, at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. You got to do what's best for the business. You got to do what's best for everything. Everyone's good interest. And if this were someone who I felt had like my best interest in mind, or possibly had the history that he has, I probably would have done it, But this is a guy who has a history of online. He gets you involved in something. And then everything he does is for his own personal gain, and it doesn't matter how much he hurts you, as long as he's still benefiting from it, okay? There was no offer to me of being on an interview for $50,000. That's a lie.
So what? Okay, and I'm just for if it sounds like there's miscommunication here,
Yes.
right? If we were to get Keemstar on the show right now and kind of walk through this, because I'm very intrigued by this, right? I want to know more about this project. Would you be open to that?
Absolutely not. Not after all the stuff that happened after that.
Okay, so you would not be open to talking to him right now.
I'm never going to do business with Keemstar. Not after the things I now know about him and the other things that he said and done. Absolutely not.
Okay. Then I'll delete my tweet that I was about to send asking Keemstar to come on the show. I didn't send a tweet out, just so you know. I was going to.
Here's the thing. You could say it's a difference between short-term gain and long view, right? I feel like having any association with that guy in the long term is just going to hurt rather than help. I feel like it's going to be even more trolls, more toxicity towards me than I already have, because I've seen documentaries on this guy. It's factual evidence that he creates.
I don't want to worry about. I don't want to talk about Keemstar. I want to say you should use that mentality towards money. It seems like, you're holding him on that, but instead in your own world, I'm just saying it's just going to help you out. I feel weird because it feels like I'm like lecturing you, but I'm just like, I'm the type of person. My friends called me an honest asshole, and I'm cool with it. Like, I don't mind. I'm blunt. I'm freaking vicious sometimes, and it just seems, you're being really raw here, and honestly, props to that. So
yeah, major props for sure.
This is who I am. So I just feels like.
No, I take no offense from anything, and I appreciate all of the input. I really do. Having conversations like this can only help.
Well, so how do you square the idea of not taking Keemstar's money, but taking it from your audience, who you may not know? Maybe they're slinging crack. Maybe your audience, you don't know where that money's coming from, right? They may be getting it morally in a way that you may not agree with morally. How do you square yourself with that? Maybe that I think everybody.
Never thought about
if you have a sizable audience online, you deal with people who are favorable people, and you also have some unfavorable people in your audience, right? And they may get money from other ways. So how do you square that in your brain with Keemstar versus unknown money?
I don't equate the two. Like, Keemstar money is, I'm taking money for a direct project that apparently is going to be a long-term business relationship with this guy. I'm associating myself with a guy who I don't respect, don't like the content he puts on the internet, versus people who watch me, like who I am, like what I stand for, want to support that effort to keep it going. My crowdfunders are the people who allow me to do this for a living 15 years later. I'm a small-time guy, but I can still make a living doing it while others of my size can't, because of the amount of support that I get, and I appreciate that so much. They know that. I tell them every day, thank you so much for allowing me to keep doing what I feel is meaningful for you guys, and what you tell me is meaningful every day. But here's the thing, and this is an interesting point. As someone who's crowdfunded, mostly, it's mostly income coming in from streams, ad revenue from people watching ads, all of that. This is a question for you guys, too, I guess. This is interesting.
Sure.
Can you be held accountable for your viewership, correct? Like, for example, right now, the G2s. I would hope that they're all upstanding individuals, right? You always want that, but you don't know what they're all doing, right?
Sure.
Do you micromanage your G2s and say, well, there's someone who's nice on my stream and they come by every day, and I just found out.
Okay, long and short, let me just use this as an example. The people who come watch my videos, you know what? I don't really care, to be honest, if you are good people or not. To be honest, that's sort of... The reason why I don't care about that is because that's completely out of my control, and what relevancy is it to me about who you guys are? That's got nothing to do with me, and it's never going to have anything to do with me. So it's not necessary. It's not relevant. The only thing I care about is that I deliver out content that you people like and you people want to come see, and there's hopefully things that can be taken away from it. As far as I'm concerned, that's what's important, and that's probably why you people are coming down to watch, to hear somebody talk about this, that, and the other. You know why it doesn't matter when it comes to it matters when it comes to money is because somebody is consciously deciding that I was educated, I was good enough for somebody to give them their money. And you know what? I believe they do it because they genuinely like what I do, and they're more than free to do it. Because I said this before when it comes to Keemstar stuff. People, perhaps some of his audience just work 9 to 5. Maybe some of them are just trying to save money and they don't have the time or the resources to squander money that they can't afford to give away to people who are just going to waste it anyway, like Phil does. And then, of course, then you come to, like, other, like, I don't know, I tried to watch, like, XQC stream, like, a couple of days ago. What on earth happened to XQC? He is so different to when I was watching him 6 years ago. But then again, that's even, like, the last time I, like, watched him was, like full time was, like, back in 2020. And I didn't really watch any of his Among Us sort of stuff because that was just kind of, like, quite painful to watch, in all honesty. But he won't even do a Welcome to the Jungle anymore. Or if he does he does it with just the sort of no F's given he doesn't give any sort of enthusiasm. He looks as like it's the last thing he could have ever have said. And you want to get, what would you suppose is better, ladies and gentlemen? Actually showing your appreciation for somebody who understands and appreciates and cares, to people who just straight up don't care. But, and as I said before, what you guys get up to, that's your concern. That's got nothing to do with me. So it would only matter in cases where, if let's say one of my viewers was exposed for something like really inappropriate they did, then if they had donated to me, then I would have to, like, consider maybe forwarding it to a charity or something like that, because I wouldn't be comfortable. And I've done this before, by the way. I would not be comfortable with that money being associated with, well, with money coming into my channel like that. That's just not really the nicest thing to do, to be honest. So, and I've had to do this before, you know. So let's keep going.
I went to their Twitter to find out that they're a horrible person. They say racist things on their Twitter all the time. If someone came to you and said that, would you say, oh, I got to ban them from my community now because they say things on their own personal Twitter?
No, that's censorship.
Yeah, that's censorship, and I don't agree with that either. But I do think that it starts and stops with expectations, right? Your expectations, and it starts with leadership, right? Whether you like it or not, I think that you are the leader of your community. You are the people that everyone looks to on how somebody should act, how somebody should interact with other people in your chat, how you are the flag bearer of how what the community should be like, right? So I think ultimately your community emulates the hosts. And
that being said, I do say I absolutely understand not wanting to go into business with someone that you don't respect.
Yes,
I personally know many different people that are very successful that I don't respect, and I'm like, couldn't be happier not working with them. Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
that is exactly
real
my
ones. No.
There with Keem.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
So let's kind of. Okay, let's kind of dig into this a little bit, right? So where's the line?
But at that point, why didn't Phil just straight up just tell Keem at the earliest possible convenience, thank you, but no thank you? What was stopping Phil from just saying that, and then Keem wouldn't have bothered?
Right, when you have, let's just say you have a community member that you know via their Twitter, let's just say they are selling coke, right? They're selling illegal drugs, whatever. Don't you want to be like, hey man, like I'm not into that. Like there's visual evidence of them doing something bad or at least alluding to something negative, something that would be shunned in a normal society, right? But you know they're a part of your community. And once again, they're coming into their community potentially bleeding that into the community. I don't think you censor them, but maybe have a conversation about it.
I agree. It's a line of, is it influencing you and your content in your community or not? So I think we're going towards a certain topic. I don't know if there's a particular person you may be referencing, Craig.
I don't. I'm not going to reference any specific community members. That's not what this is not about. This is not about specific community members. We're here to talk to you.
Okay.
I want to actually address something real quick. So Keem actually just tweeted and responded to what you just said, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm going to read his tweet. Keem, he said, DSP is lying in this live interview. I called Phil at the agreed times, and he ignored my calls and claimed later he was at work. He ignored my calls for $50K up front for the Low Cow podcast to stream to under 200 live viewers, begging for them to pay his rent and his
No relation to this channel, by the way.
utility bills. Both Wings and Boogie agreed to Low Cow podcast. The only reason it didn't happen was because of DSP. Thoughts? Response?
It's a blatant lie. He called me when I was on stream. I looked at my phone when I was on stream, wondering why I was getting a phone call. After the fact, I realized that was Keemstar calling me when I was on live streams. It's just blatantly false. I gave him the times. I said there was time frames between streams he could call. At one day, I actually sat here for an hour in my office after a stream waiting for him to call, and he never called.
Well, if it's not true, he's gonna post, when you were streaming and the phone call, and if not, then it's pretty easily provable.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
he never.
there
I'll
it
tell
is.
you right now, to my knowledge, he never actually called me when during the times that we talked when he was available. To my knowledge, so that's all I can say. And then after the fact, here's the thing. I just wanted to have the conversation. As I told you guys, I personally have issues with the guy and the content he puts out. I do. So at the very least, knowing it's in my family's best interest to have the conversation, find out what the conversation is about, at least to find out, but he wouldn't even have the conversation. So if the conversation doesn't take place, of course, I'm not going to say, if you can't even have the call, how on earth could you ever enter a business relationship with someone for a big amount of money, for a big commitment of time or whatever it was going to be? It just didn't make any sense to me at all. So that's why it never happened.
Okay.
And by the way, Boogie, I've talked with Boogie behind the scenes. He really wanted me to be on the show, but I told him personally, I can't do it, man. I can't do anything with Keem. I just can't do it. I can't be involved business with what he stands for. It's kind of like the same thing. I know this is going to sound crazy.
I wonder what Phil's opinions on Boogie are, well, as of today. I know this was shot last year, but,
All right? I'm the kind of guy that if I can help it, I won't shop at Walmart. Okay? Why? Because I hate that company. The company has destroyed small businesses, little towns, right? Now, everyone shops at Walmart because it has the best prices. If I can help it, I won't. Every once in a while, I go there. But for the most part, I can't. That's the kind of guy I am. Maybe that's a huge flaw with me, right? But I'm not going to take money. I would feel like taking a paycheck from Keemstar is kind of like blood money. That's money he made on the backs of people, drama content he put out, people he's hurt to earn it. I'm not going to do that.
Didn't you start your career on like drama and hate?
Well, exactly. Pot calling kettle, really. They're not. I think the problem with maybe Phil with Keemstar is that I wonder if deep down Phil is insanely jealous because maybe if Phil thought about it, he was just trying to do exactly the same things as Keemstar did, but Keemstar actually became successful for what he did, and all Phil has to his name is basically what he considers a 9-to-5 grind, where he constantly has to beg money and waste it on a mobile game.
But not against people. I will say this: I never, if I could help it,
But the people in the
directly
Street Fighter community, like that's who you said you were targeting.
Oh, okay, that's different. And here's the thing: you're right.
How is that different?
It's different because I've changed now. I will agree, and I've talked about this in documentaries about me.
I'm sorry, you sound like the abusive ex-boyfriend trying to get back with his girl. I've changed now. Don't worry about it.
Adam, you're talking about something that happened the first half of 2000.
I know. I'm just calling, as I said. It just sounds funny, like hearing that.
Yeah.
That I changed now. That line is so. I don't know, overused by the
I was
wrong
an online
people.
troll in the Street Fighter community. Absolutely. There was online harassment that happened. Absolutely. I've learned from that. I've been through it myself now. And I realize how harmful that is and why you would never do it. Especially when you're someone in a position of power who has an audience to actually troll people, to do drama against people. That's so harmful to them. I would never do that for personal gain anymore, ever again. And taking that money from Keemstar, I feel like I'm taking money from other people who've been hurt in order to benefit. I can't do that.
Have you reached out to anybody that you feel that you wronged in the Street Fighter community to let them know that you changed and that you're sorry?
Well, the people from back then, I would have absolutely no idea how to contact, but I have publicly said things. For example, last year I did a react to the Down the Rabbit Hole video about me. This is by Frederick Knudsen. It was millions and millions of views. It's one of the videos everyone was watching. It was made in 2017. It covers all my early years as a YouTuber, but also my career in the Street Fighter community. And I admitted publicly how bad I was back then, what an awful person I was, just to get over in the Street Fighter community. You know, there's people back then that, for no good reason, I trolled them. For no reason. I'm just an asshole. And I apologized in that video. I mean, do you want me to name names? I mean,
well, sure. Yeah, because I want to know who's so hard to get a hold of.
What's his name? Shady K. I don't even know if he's even around anymore in the Street Fighter community. I mean, in the early 2000s, I destroyed this guy for no reason, no good reason. I don't know, you know, I latched on to people because look, the more I make fun of this guy or the more I try to attack these people, I get over, right? And it caused so much drama. You know, we almost fought at Evo. It's so stupid. Now I look at it, I'm like, boy, I was dumb. What kind of dumb shit was I? I thought I was a pro wrestler. I thought, oh man, I'm talking shit, and we're gonna have big rivalries at fighting game championships. It's the dumbest shit, you know?
Right. So
is this long Tran?
I don't know. You tell me, because that's the thing. Like these people are not hard to get a hold of, and his DMs are open. So like I feel like that's pretty disingenuous to say like, well, it's more like you don't want to put forth the effort in saying that. You know, I'm going to say this publicly, and it's a big blanket to cover all the things that I've done wrong. When if you know that you've done things that you regret, you should probably reach out to people and say like, hey, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I said. Because the reality is that on today's internet, it's not impossible to find these people. It's very easy. And it just comes down to like a little bit of effort. And I'm not saying that you're not, but I'm saying that maybe there's an opportunity to provide a little more effort.
You know what, Craig? I never even thought about it like that. Here's why. Little mini story. When I was in high school, I was bullied a lot. Okay, and years later, one of my bullies actually contacted me, like probably around that time frame when I was in the Street Fighter community, and he found me online. He contacted me out of the blue. He's like, I just want to let you know,
we got to stick together. I'm just kidding.
No, he basically said, I'm sorry for what I did to you in high school. Like, I think back on it now because I've grown and I've matured and I realized what an asshole.
I can't even say that about Phil because that happened to me like once or twice. Yeah, that's kind of I can't even go out and I'm not talking about me picking on other kids. No, absolutely no. That's because if I did, I would have fucking destroyed. I would have scarred some people if I did that. But no, of course I wouldn't, because that's just fucked.
I was, and I responded. I said, thanks, but I don't really care. You know, I've moved on with my life. You don't have to worry about it anymore, and that was it. So to me, I'm so far removed from those days. You know, we're talking 20 years ago. Does this guy care to hear from me 20 years later in a DM?
Yes.
Never even crossed my mind. But you know what? You've made the point. And now I'm going to have to think about it. I have to think about who are those people that I wronged back then, who possibly I could maybe reach out to. He's definitely probably number one, because that was one of the people who, you know, man, for no reason. It was just every day hammering that guy to the point where at the end of Evo, we had a grudge match on stage. And then when it ended, I wanted to shake his hand, and he was so upset he refused to shake my hand because I had trolled him so badly on the internet. He basically was like, irrevocable harm that you've done to me. I'm not going to shake your hand. You're a piece of garbage, right? Now I look at that and I'm like, I probably would have felt the same because I've been through that shit. I'm on the other end of the trolling now, and now I get it, right? But you're right. Well,
I think like
makes sense.
You know what you're talking about. You're talking about growing as a person. I think those are things that people you can absolutely learn from. You know, and absolutely should learn from. And those are things that are incredibly important to do. And to answer your question, does he want to hear from you? I guarantee he wants to hear from you. He doesn't know he wants to hear from you. These people don't. But taking time to just say, hey, man, I messed up. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You know, especially if you know you messed up. Like people said, oh, Craig, you messed up, but I don't know why I messed up. They just point their finger. You know.
True. I know why I messed up.
It's me every single day on this show. It's
been a consistent theme with Adam. He's always pointing his finger. I mean, you really messed up. All right. Oh, wrong way. There we go. I'll say this.
Don't point your finger at me.
I'm not pointing any fingers. No way.
Damn straight.
All right. Let's continue on. All right. So we've made mistakes. We're gonna a tune for them or do our best. Let's go into WWE champions.
Okay, here
Let's
we
talk
go.
about this because this has been a consistent theme with all the detractors. They want to know about your experience with this game. Just a real simple yes or no. Do you currently still play WWE champions?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you do. Why are you so why are you so hesitant to talk about that or to talk about WWE champions? And we'll start there.
Oh, why am I hesitant to talk about WWE champions? Well, the thing is, I wasn't at first. I did talk about it publicly years ago when the game first came out, very innocently. Talked about playing it casually, that I was a fan of wrestling. This is a game that I played. Over the years, every once in a while, I will casually mention a mobile game I'm playing or whatever. But, it's nothing that I would think that my audience would be super interested in to hear about me. What mobile games I casually will talk about them. That would be like something I would mention on my podcast. Let's talk about I'm playing a new mobile game today or whatever, right? But what's ended up happening is over the years, every little thing that I mention that's not directly related to my content or my business, what I'm doing on stream, somehow gets twisted into something distorted or messed up by my detractors to make me look bad. And this is a prime example of them, in my opinion, and you can disagree, trying to orchestrate something. Well, just one of the many things, because we can go through a lot of the things they've done that have been completely disproven. But this is one of the things that I never went out of my way to disprove because it's stupid. It's ludicrous.
Can I ask you, Phil? Have
Sure.
you ever spent money on this game?
Of course I have, yes.
Have you spent a lot of money on this game?
Good question is, what does a lot mean?
Anything over $100 is too much on a mobile game. So
Probably when the game first came out, yes, I spent over $100 on it. That was
Okay.
2017 when it first came out. Trust me, I'm versed on this game now for all the wrong reasons. So yes, in the first year.
Wait, did you just flex on how good you are at the game?
No. I said I'm versed in the game because I have to know about it because they're freaking put me in conspiracies about it and shit. It's ridiculous.
Okay,
I don't
well-
want to know about it.
Wow, Phil got really, really hurt when they said that. I wonder why.
How much money have you spent in this game? Do you mind saying?
Total, I couldn't tell you. It's definitely total under $1,000 over the years that it's been in operation for sure.
Okay.
Under $1,000, he says. Phil. No, that's not. Phil? Do you want me to pull it up again? You know what? I'm pulling up the clip again.
This
From PayPal. On May 10th, a pre-authorized payment of $110.09 from PayPal. On
Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna let this clip play out for a bit. So I need to just run something. I'll be right back.
May 10th, a pre-authorized payment of $110.09 from PayPal. On May 17th, a pre-authorized payment of $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09, $110.09 from PayPal.
That's at least 1,800, by the way. So that's like the first thing he's lying about. And by the way, yes.
Okay, not over $1,000.
No,
Because
absolutely not.
that's not what people think.
That's
They
correct.
think,
I know.
that you're some sort of a whale in that game.
Oh, I know. I've seen every. I haven't seen every video. I've heard it all. First, it was like thousands. Then it was 10,000. Then it was 20. Then it was 40. Now it's 100. I think 100,000 supposedly I've spent on this game.
Well, we started talking about it, and you instantly went into just attacking other people. Like, we don't have to, like, your detractors. Like, they may deserve it. I don't know. But we can have this conversation without even bringing them up.
Sure.
Right. We'll bring them up if they're
Okay.
you're saying you're instantly going to they're making up shit. But you do play this game. You have spent money on it, and I
Correct.
think what's happening is when you're begging your audience for money and then complaining that this King's Feast is too expensive for a $60 meal, and you're stressing for money, and then putting money into a game that is a mobile game that is, I mean, let's face it, mobile games are not necessary in life.
No kidding.
Spending any amount of money on a mobile game, I've never played this WWE. I don't even know it. I saw like a picture of it, and it looked like Candy Crush or I don't know what the hell it is, but it just feels like they feel like you're just using them to like using your audience, and like I don't want to be used. I personally, I don't like feeling used. I've been used by people in the past, and I don't have time for that in my life. So when people are watching someone online and supporting them and then feel used, like when you say you beg too much, and you're working on that, which is good, because as I said, it's not a good look. But even talking about, hey, this other game that they believe you're a whale in, why do they think you're a whale? Where are they getting this?
See, here's the thing. I don't exactly know. There's been so much to this thing over the years that, I'm just going to briefly in my head try to go over what I remember. Apparently, at first, it was that there was an account in the game. That's the name of the account was They Call Me DSP. Okay.
Which is also your Twitter handle.
That's correct.
And
So just by that association, they're assuming that's me in the game. Okay. Now, for what I'm going to understand after I guess at some point it had been asked on a stream or whatever, is this you? And I said, no, that's not me in the game. It is not, by the way. That is not my account in the game.
What is your account in the game?
That I'm not going to say. And if you're going to say why, because back when I signed up for that game in 2017, there had never been any drama around mobile games or anything like that I had been involved in. No one had ever asked me the question of what's the name of your account. I have an account name on basically my Apple device that kind of crosses over a lot of different accounts, okay? And if I were to tell you information about my account, these people will absolutely use that to hurt me. They will try to use this data to get into other accounts. They will probably try to commit identity theft, impersonate me with Apple. I can't do that. I've already been through that 2 years ago.
So on the record, you're saying that that account, They Call Me DSP, is not you.
That's correct.
Okay.
Well,
okay, but that.
So after 4 years, the rhetoric is still the same. Truth, right now, I have not played any mobile game in this WWE Champions that these idiots keep bringing up. It's not my account. It's not my account. We've been over this before, Phil. Stop lying to people.
Here's the thing that I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around, right? Because apparently that name was changed later to Down from the Rafters, right? Why would somebody, if this is a troll that is a whale, right, that in this game, why would somebody let's say after this was brought to your attention, the name is later changed, right? And they're spending all this money on this, right? And they know it's being, it's being tracked in this game. Why would they change the name if they're just trolling you with They Call Me DSP, this name? Why would they then change the name if it's just a troll to begin with? What's the point? I'm trying to wrap my head around this idea here.
sure. Apparently, there's a couple theories. Theory number one is, like you just said, this person was actually a troll who was trying to make me look bad. And that was the theory until the name changed. But I agree with you. That doesn't seem to make sense, does it? Why would you try to change your name if you weren't, maybe, and again, this is me just guessing. I have no clue because this is not me. Maybe this person was a legit player. Maybe it was a fan of mine. Maybe it was, who knows? Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's complete chance. This is not Darkside Phil. This is not DSP Gaming. This is They Call Me
Darkside
DSP.
Patrick.
Again, who knows? You're right. That's the point. It wasn't my name. It wasn't like Phil Burnell or whatever. It was one name that I use on a Twitter account. So maybe this legitimately was someone who was playing the game and over the years was getting like harassed. I don't know. Here's what I can tell you. since this started happening, all right, I was afraid that my actual account name was going to get out there, and they were, like I just told you guys, they were going to try to like harass me or change, harass my Apple account, hack my Apple account, whatever. I reached
Phil,
out.
I gotta say real quick, if whoever they call me DSP changed it to whatever the hell they changed it to, why haven't you changed it to some?
That's what I'm
obscure
about
thing?
to say. That's exactly what I'm about to say. I asked they have the help chat or whatever. I asked them. I said, "Listen, this is happening, and I'm really afraid." And they told me they don't do that. I was like, "What?" Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do name changes. I said, "There's evidence that there is." They wouldn't do it for me. So maybe, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this person, because of the level that they've spent supposedly in the game, because they're a whale. Maybe the company did them a solid because they keep spending, and so they did it for them.
I doubt
Apparently,
that.
you can't just change your name. There's no option in the game to change your name. I've tried. It's not there. And you contact support. They say we won't do it.
Okay, look, there's a lot here. There's a lot here, and look, I'm of the mindset of once somebody gives you money, you can do what you want with the money. But
True.
I think that we're here to put all the cards on the table here and work through these things. So when you play this game and you have this whale that has the exact same Twitter handle that you have, that is pulling this elaborate troll on you, right?
If that's what it was, I don't know.
Right. But, and I look, I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to, because I feel like it needs to be addressed.
Go for it.
People have been very aggressive with you to the point to where they have leaked bank statements from you. Right. And that's obviously not cool at all. It's ridiculous that somebody would go to that length. And it's honestly upsetting, but it's out there. Right. And there have been, according to these leaks, there have been dozens, hundreds of transactions to the Apple Store. Many over hundreds of dollars that had been there. Were those your transactions?
No.
So those were not tied to you at all.
No. The bank leaks. Now we have to get into the identity theft thing. Okay.
Well, let's just talk about the bank leaks first.
Well, they're tied to that.
Okay.
You know what I mean, like, they go hand in hand. Those bank
Go ahead,
leaks.
explain it then. Yeah.
Sure, the bank leaks are not accurate. That is not my account.
So it's the person who took your identity was spending money in the Apple Store?
No, that's not my account at all. Whatever
So-
that is not me. That's fabricated. Or it's someone else's account. I don't know whose, but that's not my account that was leaked. I've had a lot of issues that happened with identity theft that same summer, but they use that to run with some kind of this crazy conspiracy theory and say that was me, and it's not.
So you're saying, just so we're on the same page, you're saying that this account that is not yours, that had thousands of dollars of fees to the Apple Store consistently, that are these amounts just happen to tie to exact amounts in the game that we're talking about, WWE Champions, and it's a game that you also play. Just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
You're saying that is not your account at all, and they were unsuccessful in hacking your bank account.
They did not hack my bank account. They did not have access to my bank account.
This seems awfully convenient.
And we're
Right.
just
It
right.
does sound awfully convenient, but that's the truth.
You can understand how us looking from the outside in looks at this and raises an eyebrow and doesn't quite buy it,
So
right?
to me, I mean, from an outside perspective, who doesn't know anything, would look like you had to go and file for bankruptcy. You had all these issues and people calling you out for spending way too much money on this game when you should have been saving for taxes. And then, this shit comes out and you're freaking sweating. You got to freaking do something about it. It's like, oh, I was hacked. That identity theft. Like, maybe the identity theft happened. I'm just like painting a picture for like these people on the internet that hate you and are trying to convince the world of what happened. And then like Craig said, I mean, you are playing it. It is your username. There are all these bank statements that actually correlate perfectly with this game. I'm leaning more towards that side of the story because it makes more sense. I mean, you needed an out. You have money issues and have had money issues for a while, and it's just like it's hard to believe, dude.
The reason that this story has not died out like every other one is because this is the one that I really don't have a way to prove my innocence without further exposing myself. You understand?
Do you have a police report for the
a police
identity
report?
You don't.
Oh,
you
no.
can redact certain things.
I do not. I don't have a police report. Geez, how do I?
Did you not go to the police when your identity was hacked or
No,
taken?
I went to all my financial institutions. I went to the credit bureaus.
You
and
didn't go to
notified
the
them.
police though when someone
No,
was
I didn't.
stealing your identity. Why wouldn't you do that?
I didn't even think to do it. I don't think. What would they do about it?
Try to fucking get the person and arrest them for stealing your identity?
I mean, I guess maybe, but here, okay. I guess what I got to do is tell you a little bit more about all the crap I've been through. I have contacted the police about the harassment. No, listen, I have contacted the police about harassment over the years. When I got swatted, years later, when someone was actually doing tons of fake transactions against my PayPal account that were all fraud. They were actually fraudulent credit card transactions. I contacted our police here, and I had a big conversation, and they said, listen, I swear to God, this is the conversation. We don't do that. We don't have an online task force for this stuff. They said the only thing we deal with is human trafficking. That's it. That's all we can do. Here's the number to the FBI if you want to call them. But unless you're talking about ginormous sums of money being tossed
So
around,
you did contact them or you didn't?
not about identity theft. I contacted them years earlier about other issues.
And you talked to them about identity theft?
I talked to them about a lot of different things that had happened or could happen. And they
But
basically
why
told
would
me-
you have talked to them about identity theft years earlier if none of that was even happening to you?
Well, I don't know if we specifically said, identity theft. But like I said, there was a case where, first of all, I received death threats, like pretty serious death threats. Someone saying they're going to come to my house and murder me with a gun.
Well, that's
And
a
I-
completely different subject.
Correct.
Right.
And I contacted them about that. And while I was talking to them, I also brought up PayPal issues that I was having with fraudulent transactions and other things. And they basically said, we don't handle that. We can't. We don't have the capacity. Local PD doesn't care. You have to go, if you want to go to the FBI, but they even said, here's the number. If you ever get into something really bad, you're afraid for your life or something, call us 911. Outside of that, anything else, it's, big transactions or whatever, like you lose $1 million, you call the FBI. That's it. So I didn't think, I didn't file a police report about the identity theft because I didn't think they could do anything. They told me years previous nothing's going to happen about it.
Well,
Whoops.
it didn't seem like you were talking about identity theft with them. So
Let me ask this, right? You addressed the bank leaks on a stream.
Mm-hmm.
Why? If they're not yours, why?
Good point. Yeah.
Why did you feel the need to talk about the bank leaks if they weren't yours?
Well, what do you mean by that? Are you referencing a specific stream that I did? Or
Just in general.
They're talking about, Phil, if what you're saying, if the bank leaks, which seem to expose your enormous expenditure over the course of nearly 2 years, if you're going to say those aren't yours, Phil, then why are you mentioning them? How do you know so much about it if they're not yours?
I mean, if
Actually, I'll tell you what, no, there's a better way we could do this.
This guy is definitely reporting police shit.
Out of these people
every night.
my not
Here it is.
over the last week, it has come to my attention and my knowledge finally that I have been subject to the crime of identity theft. All right, someone found out my personal information, whether it's stuff that was posted publicly or it's stuff that was not, because I know for a fact that there's access to information that should not be public whatsoever, my private stuff. I'm not supposed to say too much about it per advisement because of everything going on behind the scenes. Yes, this includes all kinds of stuff. Okay, it does, including control over my financials. All that shit is illegal. I mean it. Like every piece out there oh, look at this. Here's a leak, and I'm going to use this to say defamatory stuff about Phil. Yeah, that's illegal. And again, people are so dumb. Someone literally just said in the stream chat, so everything's real? What did I just say? Are you fucking deaf, you stupid shit? Yeah, you are.
Honestly, bro, some of these people's getting money to actually see the dumb shit he's doing.
If somebody hacks an account and they say this is Darkside Phil's bank account, right? Why don't you say, well, it's not mine? What are you even talking about? And like, I did. Okay.
I'm sure that I've never said that was my account.
Then how come, and this is, the internet doing what it does, there's been matchmaking based off of your life, going to restaurants, big events in WWE Champions, things like that line up perfectly with this bank account. Like, and I think I said, it's your money, dude. You can do what you want. I don't care. But why, if we were in the court of law and somebody was to bring all this evidence in front of, say, like, look, hey, there's a bullet here. Here's the gun that he used. It has his fingerprints on it. This person is dead because this person pulled the trigger, and the other guy's like, no, I didn't do it. Well, like, there's clear, like, DNA there. And, like, I think that's the thing that I'm really struggling with here, man, is it just seems like if you would just say, yeah, it was my bank account. It was really fucked up. It aligned with all these things. By the way, I play WWE Champions. I have a hard time quitting it. Those games are addictive. And you just kind of said, yeah, these things are accurate. I think people would just be like, okay, and they'd be cool with it. But it just seems like you keep digging and digging and digging. And I mean, walk me through this, because there's just evidence here, like mounds and mounds of evidence. And that say
you claim that it was someone else, but why do a lot of the things on the bank statement actually correlate to things that you actually did and paid for? Right,
and the only evidence that you're putting out is, well, no, it's not, or that's a lie, And just walk me through this, man, because this is the whole purpose of this thing was not to make you look bad at all. But I just want to walk through this here, man, because it doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up.
What specifically, like you said a couple things there. First, you said big events in the game correlate to money being spent on the account.
No, I don't think he meant in the game. I think he meant in life.
Well, in life and in the game, apparently there's like special events that happen in the game, and it's a certain character's released or whatever. I don't know enough about the game, right? I didn't do a deep dive into the game. Just there are special events that happen. Hey, it's like you see this on any game, Call of Duty, Apex. For this time only, you can buy this character or whatever. That's all. I'm just trying to walk through this, man.
But here's the thing. I don't know specifically what you're referencing. I guess what you're saying is there's transactions on that account that correlate. That's something that's been proven that I spent money on. How would that even be proven? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, maybe you went to a restaurant and you said, hey, I'm going to go to dinner tonight. And then there's a transaction at a local restaurant for an amount that may add up to a couple people dining at a restaurant. You know what I mean? That's all. Like I said, I'm just trying to walk through this.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds. I mean, first of all, from your perspective, if I were sitting where you were right now and hearing this story, I'd be like, he's probably lying. I don't know how to defend. Again, I don't know how to defend myself without putting myself and my family at personal risk, and that's the problem. I don't know how that lines up. I wish I knew. I wish I knew I could explain those transactions. I'm trying to figure out how I can tell you from my perspective what really happened that summer. Why? Because
I'll tell you. Here's something very easy, very simple, very simple. You have my email, and this is a small ask. It's also a big ask. You can say whatever you want. Will you? And you can say no, and I'm totally fine with this. But just confidentially between us, will you send me a screenshot of your account, of your WWE account, and just so I personally, I will not share your name to anybody, but just between us.
Man, I have to think about
and vouch for you.
I would put out.
Yeah, and I will vouch for you either way.
I have to think about what kind of risk that. I don't want to say. Here's the thing, I'll consider it, but I can't agree to it yet. I have to see what's the risk, And I not say that I think you would do anything with it. I don't.
I think you got to look at what's to benefit more than what's to risk.
You have no idea the levels, how this has gone. Accounts that
I do.
happened.
I see it. I'm well aware. I have chat up. I mean, I know. I mean, people have been tagging me relentlessly since it was announced that you were coming on the show. And I didn't know who you were. I had never heard of you before. Before this moment when Craig was like, hey, so do you know who DSP is? And I'm like, no. What's the deal? And everyone's like, oh, we got to freaking tell Adam who DSP is. You know, it's like, I see the amount of attention that you get in a negative light, right? So, like, I understand. That's why I'm like, I kind of understand that you don't want to be too forthcoming with your any more information that isn't public already, because as there's a lot out there. So, you know, but you're in a pickle, man, because the internet is a fucking pulse, and it's a new brain that humans are still learning how to adapt to. And right now, there's a big chunk of the internet that has a target on your head, and you know, you've said it multiple times that you fucked up. You held your hands up. You said, I didn't handle this right. I fucked up multiple times. You did this and that. So it's like, if you want to remain on the internet, which you seem to enjoy streaming, you like what you're doing now, which is good. I'm glad you like what you're doing. But it's like, if you want to move in a direction that's going to alleviate some of these haters, anything might help. Obviously not giving them more ammo, which, I mean, I've grown to trust Craig. Of course, you know, don't tell him I said that. But, you know, I think that would actually do more for you than you think. If Craig came out and was like, all right, guys, he sent me the proof, and I can confirm to everyone that his account is not, they call me DSP, the whale account, you know, like,
or the other name, Down from the Rafters,
or what it changed it to. Yeah.
Right.
Like, almost at this point now, it's like, it's almost suspect that you're not wanting to just do whatever you can.
Yeah. Again, I hear you. If I was sitting in your position right now, I would feel exactly the same way. But just as the levels of shit that I've been through, and people who betrayed me, not that I'm saying Craig would. I don't think he would. But
I have no interest. Phil, I want to be really clear with you, man. And just like this, we were talking about this. I have zero interest in making you look bad. Like, I think there's a tremendous opportunity here for you to be humanized to a lot of people who don't see you as human, you know, and to err is to be human, right? That's the old saying. Like, everybody fucks up, and you've owned up to a lot of those things. But there are certain things here, man, that I just, you know, they don't add up. And you're saying, hey, if I was in your shoes, I'd be saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. I don't know, man. It's not connecting. It's not connecting. And I'm trying to help you out here, man. I really am. And
I hear you.
And so
I feel like there's
yourself.
I feel like there's nothing else to be said then, you know, because.
Could I bring up one point about these bank statements?
Sure. Yeah.
So I've seen limited amounts, because here's the thing. You guys just said, why do you bring it up on your stream? I only bring this kind of stuff up on my streams when someone else brings it up, and there's like, it's such a loud fervor on the stream. People are talking about it in the chat. I'll address it. Okay. I did look into it. I saw some of this supposed bank statements that are mine. Mm-hmm. There's a couple things that don't make sense to me. All right. Number one, if this is me, okay, there's a bunch of transactions on there, I guess, from like pet stores, okay? And people are like, well, that's because Phil has a cat. Yeah, but those transactions are like big. You're talking like hundreds of dollars a week or something like that. I have one cat. Now, again, that's he said, she said. It's not going to prove my innocence, but everyone knows I have one cat. He's been on the stream all this time. I don't have a...
What about the other cat, Phil? No, I'm not even going to say that. No, I can't imagine Phil was trying to save money by feeding cat food, but that's just okay. No, definitely not. It depends. That depends on what Phil is feeding Jasper. That's might be what it comes down to. Who knows?
Secret herd of dogs in my basement. I don't even have a basement. So some of the transactions in that I've seen don't make sense at all per what it's funny because you say circumstantially, some of these transactions could be yours if you went out, and ate. Okay, you're right. But some of them also don't make any sense. Like okay, there's a bunch of transactions on there that say iTunes. Okay. Now, I don't know, but here's the thing. The narrative that they have put out there about me is that I'm begging and shilling to my viewers. The viewers give me tips every day, and that money goes right into WWE champions. Correct? Like, that's the narrative that they say on the internet. If that's the case, why are there bank transactions for iTunes? Right? The money is in my PayPal account. Why are there bank transactions for iTunes? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I take money out of a PayPal account that I have, that I get my tips from, transfer it to my bank account, where then I take a hit because there's a transfer fee anytime you transfer money from PayPal to a bank account? So I'm taking a big financial hit on that money. Then I'm making transactions in the game off the bank account. Why wouldn't it be made out of the PayPal account? That doesn't make sense to me. It makes no logical sense. To me,
there's a lot of things that haven't made a whole lot of logical sense here, Phil. I mean, let's just be real. There's a lot here that doesn't add up, right?
Well, isn't the iTunes like where the microtransactions from games get charged? So that actually would make sense.
It would make no. You're okay. You're correct, but the point I'm making is the money's in the PayPal account. So if there,
hold on, I know what you're saying, but on PayPal you can actually use PayPal, and you could click use balance or use your bank account, and it'll just pull the money from your bank account, but using PayPal as the payment service. So that's irrelevant because you can just choose where the money's coming from on PayPal.
Okay, I see what you're saying. What I was going off of their narrative, and their narrative is every day I'm begging my audience for money. It goes to my PayPal, and then I immediately spend that on WWE champions. That's the narrative.
I didn't believe that narrative, but it does seem that you do get money and you just spend it on the things that need to be spent on instead of, planning for taxes the next month or whatever.
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Right, and or things that aren't necessary, which could include WWE. Not saying that it is, but it could be.
Do you feel that you said you still play the game? Do you play any other mobile games?
Yes.
Do you feel that you're addicted to them at all?
No.
No?
I play them casually. I play them, for example, I'll be off the stream and it's night and my wife and I are watching a TV show. And as we're watching the show, I might just open it up. And, these mobile games are not big narrative experiences. They're just like kind of busy work game, grinding games, right? You mash a little bit. You do like Adam said, this stupid WWE Champions is just a freaking puzzle game like Candy Crush. It doesn't take a lot of intelligence to do them. They're more like,
do casual players pay just under $1,000?
No,
I don't know. I feel like you elevate your level when you actually put any money into it, but then when it goes over $100, you kind of elevate from casual to all right. I'm one of the core players.
This all started because you guys probably don't know the full history. This all started many years ago before there was tons of financial issues that were public. I was playing a different WWE game. It was called WWE Supercard. All right. This one I actively spent a lot of money on. I will tell you guys this. I can't tell you the exact. I got addicted to that one. Everyone knew it. I talked about it.
So you have been addicted to mobile games?
Yes, I have. I've publicly admitted this, that I spent way too much money on that. And there was another one that was called Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. That one as well. This was before, way before years before the bankruptcy and everything. I was spending too much money on them. And at that point, I stopped. I cut off. I stopped playing WWE Supercard and Dokkan Battle completely. When I saw what I was doing, I stopped myself from doing it. And then, I've casually played other mobile games over the years. And basically what happens is and I know you guys are going to say you're changing the narrative. Please bear with me with this.
No, it's not helping your case at all, though.
I know, but I'm being honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is all public record. I talked about those games in the past. And with these detractors, what they do is they find a narrative and they stick with it. If I can dispute it or disprove it, or if it gets somehow disproven, then they drop it and they latch onto the ones that they can't, that I haven't been able to disprove. This particular one, they've been looking for something to get me on for years and years and years, and every single thing gets disproven or just forgotten about. This is the one I can't find a way.
Use Craig. Send him a screenshot.
I haven't found a way to do this without putting myself at personal risk up to now. And so this is why the narrative is continued. Even though there's been so many different things that have been disproven. There's people who make videos about WWE champions that have made entire exposés about me in the past that were completely disproven. They don't care about that. What's the next thing that we can make drama about for Phil so we can have personal gain on the internet and get...
Look, basically, we could go back and forth on this literally all day long, but if all of this... Well, just send Craig the screenshot then, and then you'll be fine, Phil. We'll have proven that it was not true, that we can somehow argue the transactions were fake, but... I mean, we're more than halfway into this, bizarrely enough, and... Well, there's... Oh god, the evidence is gonna start mounting, and... When is it Keemstar comes into this again? It's like... About another hour to go before Keemstar gets into this. Oh god.
clickbait views and shit, you know? So that's what I mean. Because this all started years ago with those other games, I publicly admitted to everyone, yeah, I was addicted to them. I spent too much money on them. I'm done with that now, you know? And then I casually... People at one point, like 2017, when this game came out, asked me, "Are you playing any other mobile games?" Yeah, I started playing this one, and every once in a while, I mention it. I think the last time that I actively had admitted that I had played it was 2019. I had said that I was on a plane to Connecticut to get married with my wife, and I had played it on the plane. And then people used that as you still play mobile games, you're still you know.
So let's okay. So you say you play the game. You say you're not addicted, although you have been addicted to mobile games in the past, right? Yes. And I'm just going to lay this all out in front of us, all right? So you used to play a mobile game that was WWE related.
Yes.
Okay. You were addicted to that game. Fast forward, new game comes out, right? You play that game, and by the way, you separated yourself from that game because you knew that you were addicted to it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Usually in the case of addiction, just usually, there's some sort of intervention in life, some sort of intervention that happens, whether it's brought on by friends, family, or just personal, you know, you look inside yourself and you realize something needs to change, right?
Right.
Do you feel that you're addicted to these games? I've already asked you this, but I just feel like, once again, you have transactions that line up with major events. I'm getting DM pictures of you, of your Discord, you know, your Discord handle in the WWE Champions Discord, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. I have, and it just seems there's all, so make it make sense. Like, this doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. I have such a hard time believing that there is a group of people that are so hell-bent, this evil plan to make you look bad, that they're willing to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on WWE champions just so they can make you look bad. I don't buy it. And once again, there's an easy out here, Phil. I'm offering you the easy out. All you got to do is just take a quick screenshot. You can email it to me. It's done. We all move on. The detractors move on, and everybody goes, okay, you know what? You know, and we all move on. That's it. That's it.
It's very simple, but Phil doesn't have an answer for that, and I'm sure I'll find out next time as well.